Good evening, everybody. I am Hari Babu, an advocate at High Court for the state of Telangana at Hyderabad. I have started this web series to bring to the notice of the listeners the important and controversial provisions of the Constitution, which I felt were misunderstood, misinterpreted, misused, and misapplied, as a result of which the country is facing social, political, economic, and law and order problems. Today, while I was following some Supreme Court proceedings, I saw learned advocates arguing that the governor and the president have to conduct according to aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. I want to tell you, my dear friends, the phrase aid and advice has destroyed India. That phrase is the most misunderstood and misapplied during the last 75 years, right from 1950. I am surprised. There is nothing to be confused about that. According to the Constitution, President is the only elected executive in India under Article 55. Prime Minister, Chief Minister, and all union and state ministers are not elected people as ministers. They are appointed by the President and the Governor, and they hold office during the pleasure of the President and the Governors. President is elected by the Electoral College consisting of all the MLAs in India and members of both houses of the Parliament under Article 55. He is supposed to form government at the union level under Article 74 and 75. Article 74 says that there shall be Council of Ministers with Prime Minister as head to aid and advise the President of India in discharging his functions as President. Article 75 says that the President shall appoint the Prime Minister and the President shall appoint other union ministers based on the advice of the Prime Minister, and their terms of office shall be during the pleasure of the President. The same procedure applies even to the states. The Chief Minister is appointed by the Governor and the other ministers are appointed by the Governor on the advice of the Chief Minister, and their terms of office shall be during the pleasure of the Governor. They are not elected people. That means Union Council of Ministers is an advisory body to the President. The job of the Council of Ministers is to aid and advise. Unfortunately, Indians understood the word aiding is something forcing upon the President of India, and then advice. Advices can never become orders. Advice you may heed to or you may not heed to. And especially while President of India is the ruler of this country, Council of Ministers is only an advisory body appointed by him and removed by him for his purposes. Unfortunately, this phrase has destroyed total Indian constitutional structure. In Pakistan Constitution too, they have taken many parts from Indian Constitution. The governor shall appoint the chief minister. The governor shall appoint the other ministers in the states. In case of the center, under Pakistan constitution, the prime minister is appointed by the president and the other ministers are appointed by the president on the advice of the prime minister. They have copied exact verbatim from Indian constitution, but added whatever they wanted at the end of these clauses. So the prime minister is appointed by the president of Pakistan. However, he shall ascertain the majority of the prime minister in the parliament. In case of chief minister, however, the governor shall ascertain the majority of the chief minister in the assembly. In case of the removal also, Indian constitution says that the terms of office of minister shall be during the pleasure of the president or during the pleasure of the governor. Pakistan people have added at the end of these clauses that, however, the president shall not exercise his option without ascertaining that the prime minister has lost majority in the parliament by conducting a no confidence motion. So these no confidence motions are appointing after ascertaining majority were contained in Pakistan constitution under Article 91 and 130. Such conditions are not there under Article 75 or 164 in India. So he is the only elected, these are the appointed people and removed by the president and the governors. Their purpose is to aid and advise the president and the governor. The executive is the superior and these are the subordinate executives without any term of office. Unfortunately, we understood the word advice as a command. Without that, they cannot do. The executive cannot do anything on their own. But these people have forgotten to see Article 53 and Article 159. Under Article 53, executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President of India, which he may exercise by himself directly or through officers subordinate to him. So, President of India is the executive power of the Union, which he may exercise either directly by himself, that is the first option, or through officers subordinate to him. That means officers subordinate to him are the ministers and the entire central government officers and the military in terms of Article 310. Same is the case of governor. In 1950, when the constitution came into existence, but by that time already there was a temporary ministry under the prime ministership of Nehru. It was in existence from 1947 to 1952. That is the year of first general elections. In 1950, the constitution came into existence and it prescribed presidential democracy for India because there will be an elected president in India but not elected prime minister. Then president election was to be conducted. Had Jawaharlal Nehru contested as president and won and ruled the country as president, till date the country would have been constitutionally on the right track. But to contest as president, he has to resign to his prime minister's post. So also is the case of all his cabinet colleagues, who included Dr. Ambedkar, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and several other prominent persons. As a compromise policy, none of them resigned. They put up a compromising candidate in the form of Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad. They saw that he won. With that gratitude, the first president of India confined himself to the Rashtrapati Bhavan and signed and stamped whatever sent by Nehru to his chamber. He did not interfere either with the politics or with the government. That was the turning point in Indian history. That kind of obedience to the Prime Minister made him President of India for 3 terms. Same Congress party and Nehru family ruled this country for 30 years from 1947 to 1977 until it was defeated by a Janata coalition party. As such, during the last 30 years, due to this practice being used for 30 years from 1947 to 1977, it has acquired the status of practice by precedence. Everybody believed that it is the correct procedure because all the politicians in those days were mostly barristers of law, and some of them practiced before the Honorable Supreme Court, etc. So people believed it to be a correct practice. But Nehru family knows that it is not correct. To correct the unconstitutional practice followed till then, or to lend legality or constitutionality to that procedure, Srimati Indira Gandhi has introduced 42nd Amendment of 1976, whereby it was added that President of India shall be bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers. Please understand, when I said it was introduced in 1976 through 42nd Amendment, it was not there in the original Constitution. Even though it was added through an amendment, please understand, that is an insult to the language. Even a 10th class student can understand. If I say all powers are yours, but we have to act according to my advice, what does it mean? Do you have any powers, or you have only the responsibility or obligation to follow my advices? That way, a great injustice was done to this country by following a majority rule in the parliament and the assemblies. Due to this false feeling that one can become chief minister with majority in the assembly, or one can become prime minister with majority in the Lok Sabha, the rich community started forming regional political parties. They fund about 100 people with 10 crores or 20 crore rupees each. They will go to the elections, purchase votes at the rate of 1,000, 2,000 or 3,000 rupees, win as MLAs and come back. And then they say, we got majority. People wanted us to rule. So they form governments and they squeeze the government. And to spend so much money in elections, they resort to rampant corruption. It leads to caste rule, family rule, money rule, and abnormal corruption and suppression of or oppression of the opposition parties. That's what we can see in many of the states which I don't want to name. This is a monarchy system of yesteryears. In a democracy, there should be legislative, executive, and judiciary separately. There should be legislative and executive separately. All these MLAs and MPs constitute legislative wing. Their job is to cast their vote in presidential elections, to vote on the bills introduced in the houses, and to bring public problems to the notice of the house. Their job is not to rule the country. Ruling the country is the job of the executive, president, and the governors. If president and governors do not have majority or their parties do not have majority in the parliament and the legislatures, that is the most ideal democracy. Like the United States of America. In America, the president does not command majority in the Congress, usually. It happens so rarely. Of course, at present, Mr. Donald Trump is having majority in both houses of Congress. But usually, they planned in such a way that the president and the governors should not have majority in the legislatures. That is the true definition of democracy which is missing in India. Thus, I dare to say, I don't hesitate to say that India has never been democratic since 1947. Only majority rule and suppression of the minority is taking place in India. And to secure majority, all sorts of politicization, oppressing the opposition parties, are playing vote bank politics, appeasement policies, and resorting to rampant corruption to spend in the elections is taking place in India. So it is necessary for Indian polity, press, judiciary, and intelligentsia to understand what is democracy and what is stated in the constitution. Indian constitution is not only the biggest written constitution in the world. In my opinion, it is also the best constitution in the world. But the politicians, Indian politicians, have sullied it, misunderstood, misapplied, misinterpreted, and misused it for political gains. As a result, now people are suffering. After independence, according to my estimates, at least 1 crore people must have committed suicide due to financial reasons. I don't think any foreigner had killed 1 crore Indians. It is because of this inefficient, undemocratic, vote bank political rule. Indian people are suffering. We are not able to obtain the fruits of democracy, fruits of independence, which was acquired by sacrificing lakhs of people. So please understand, the word aid and advice is the job of subordinates, that is the servants. The owner is confined to Rashtrapati Bhavan and Raj Bhavan, and their servants are ruling this country. That is the cause of all the problems we are facing today. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video. I request you to please subscribe, share, and comment on my videos. I assure you, I will continue to dilate on each and every constitutional article and each and every constitutional controversial contemporary issue. Thank you. Thank you.